Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Today, y'all, I'm reviewing the Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett card of UFC 324. The fights ended. I watched it last night. Great card. For the first UFC event of 2026 and for the new Paramount Plus era, that was amazing. Spectacular work from both fighters. Now, let's go. So now we're gonna go over all the fighters, and we're gonna say, and I'm gonna say who should they fight next. Now let's start off with Adam Fugit and Ty Miller. Ty Miller won that. I'm gonna be honest, that was an impressive win. Adam Fugit did have some good moments in the fight too. He landed a lot of body kicks, like body kicks and just kicks in general. And he landed more than what I expected him to, so that's a good thing. Ty Miller, he controlled the distance. You know, Adam Fugit got close, but like it's not like Ty Miller just let him. He tried to not have him get close, but Fugit just started getting close. So now let's go over for what Ty Miller did. That Ty Miller did kind of wrong. Well, he didn't check those kicks at all like that. He just let him hit him with those kicks, and that's probably I thought I was kind of wearing him down because it was a certain point in the fight where Adam Fugit was winning. I thought Adam Fugit was winning on that first round. Then Ty Miller just made his comeback and won. But that's what I think that Ty Miller needs to work on is be able to check those kicks. Because if you don't check those kicks and you just let him hit you, eventually you're going to get sore, and it's not going to be good for you. I'm going to say that right now. So what you need to do in the future is avoid getting kicked like that. But who do I think you should fight next? The best person I think you should fight next is probably, I would say, Islam Dulatov. I think their styles are both really good. Islam Dulatov is probably my favorite upcoming welterweight fighter in the division. I just like the way he fights. He's very smart for what he does, and I think Ty Miller and Islam Dulatov will be a great fight. If Islam Dulatov wins, give him someone from the top 15. If Ty Miller wins, let him fight some of the upcoming fighters, and then maybe if he's still undefeated, 12-0, maybe give him someone from the top 15. And I think he'll probably be good for the division. I feel like Ty Miller might be probably the next big thing. Hopefully, cause I feel like a lot of people who say these fighters are the next big thing don't end up being the next big thing. Darren Till was supposed to be the next big thing. That happened. Marvin Vettori too was supposed to be the next big thing. Even Alexander Rackett, those guys are all supposed to be the next big thing. But Darren Till ended up getting kicked out, and Marvin Vettori's on like a 4-fight losing streak, and so is Rackett. So those guys were the next big thing. But I think, in my opinion, Ty Miller might be just the next big thing for the sport, especially in his division. He's really good in his division. So if he can keep going and have that same pace, he'll be spectacular. He'll probably have some of the best fights, kind of like how Robbie Lawler did, and maybe, who knows, might be a little better. Who knows? But yeah, finally, what I think you should fight next is Islam Dulatov. Is my best option for him. There's other options, but like Michael Malai and all that other stuff, but I just think Islam Dulatov is the best one for him. Alright, now moving on to Josh Hokett versus Denzel Freeman. I already said it. I didn't know how I feel about that fight happening. I get it. They both won their fights in November and all that stuff. I think that's why it happened. But man, Denzel Freeman didn't look too good in that fight at all. I feel like he was overwhelmed. He got overwhelmed so early in the fight, which was wild. And Josh Hokett just had such effective striking. He used athleticism and movement, he got the finish. One thing that I think he needs to work on forward on is not flipping people off when you're getting that knot, when you're about to finish them. Even though I finished him, still I wouldn't. That's not what I would do. I wouldn't just flip somebody off in the middle of a match. To be honest, I wouldn't even flip nobody off. To be honest, because like I feel like it's kind of dumb. I get it, but I feel like there's no reason for you to flip somebody off. To be honest, I mean, people do that. That's what they do, but it was just so wild that he just flipped them off. And yeah, that's probably the only thing that he probably did kind of bad, even though like it didn't really matter as much. But like moving on forward, like the more competition you face, you definitely don't want to do that. So who do I think Josh Hokett should fight next? Josh Hokett should fight the winner of Tai Tuivasa and Tyson Torreira. Yeah, I think that's the best matchup. I think he's deserving in the top 15. It might be a little rush because you're like, oh, but you're saying Ty Miller shouldn't too. I get it, but Josh Hokett, but in his division, it's the heavyweight. Heavyweight don't have that much competition. That's the only reason why I'm saying, get someone for the top 15 because there's not that much competition in his division. When you know, like, if you don't have that much competition in your division, you're most likely gonna get someone from like the top 15 quicker than like if you were in like lightweight or something. Because lightweight and welterweight and all those lower weight classes, they're a different ball game. And you got it's a different ball game. There's a lot of competition there, but like the heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight division, they don't have that much competition. Even like the women's strawweight, I feel like the women's strawweight division hasn't really got much competition as of right now. I feel like in the past there was, but like as of right now, there's no competition. But it happens sometimes. Some divisions, at some point, they're gonna have competition, and then who knows? Like the next generation, they might not have as much competition. But it's alright. They'll get competition eventually. But yeah, I think he should fight the winner of that fight, even though I think Torreira's obviously going to win. It's just like Tai Tuivasa, he hasn't won a fight in a minute. I can't even remember the last time he won a fight. If I'm not mistaken, his last win was against Derek Lewis. He's been on a massive losing streak. I can't even count. I think it's like a 5-loss losing streak. But if I'm not mistaken, his last one was Derek Lewis, but I can't even remember. It's been a long time since he actually won a fight. But if he fights Tyson, I think him fighting Tyson Torreira is kind of bad. You know, it's whatever, but it's just it's a dangerous ball game, bro. It's a dangerous. Tyson Torreira is very dangerous, bro. Yeah, he had the whole Derek Lewis loss, but Derek Lewis has way more experience than him, and I already knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, but for Josh Hokett, fight the winner of that fight, or fight Shamil Gaziev. One of those two. If not one of those two, like I said, Shamil Gaziev. That's the one I think that he should fight. Now, moving on to Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. That fight was pretty good. At first it was close. Because I remember I was watching it and I said, man, I don't even know what I'm going to score this. All of a sudden, Charles Johnson gets dropped that first time. Which was wild. I think he dropped him like 3 times. He dropped him 3 times and he finished him on that third one. That was wild. Alex Perez did prove me wrong. I thought he was past it. But I don't know. I think he's just losing to the best. But yeah, he definitely had a good game plan. I think Charles Johnson, he just was letting. I feel like he kept walking towards Alex Perez instead of keeping his distance. Which I get it, you know, he's really fast and has that knockout ability. But like, man, bro, I feel like that was really stupid of him, of coming close to Alex Perez. And I thought Alex Perez was going to submit him or something, but that knockout was brutal, man. That knockout was so brutal. I think he's probably going to get someone from the top 10 again. He's probably going to. I thought eventually he's going to have to retire, but nah, I don't think so. As of right now, that was a really impressive win. And it's not that he got lucky. It's not like he was getting beat up, then got that knockout. No, it was close, then he just got it, bro. Just got it. But who do I think should fight? I would say fight Steve Erceg. Here's why. Steve Erceg's also was on a 3-loss losing streak to Alexander Pantoja, Kakawa France, and Brandon Moreno. and Alex Perez was on a 2-fight losing streak, which Steve Erceg had one more loss than Alex Perez, but he was on a 2-loss losing streak to Surutara and Ashu, and then now they bounced off with a win. So I think that'll be the best option for both fighters, and I think that'll be a good fight. I definitely think Alex Perez might pull that off, but Steve Erceg, he's really good too. Even though I still think it's kind of wild that he got a title shot at him being ranked number 10, but you know, stuff happens. You know, it was a really good fight, so I can't really complain too much. But yeah, either Alex Perez fights Steve Erceg or fight Tim Elliott. One of the other, Tim Elliott or Steve Erceg. I think they'll be both really good fights at this point of their careers. But now, moving on to Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. I thought Krylov did really amazing on that fight. He pressured Modestas with his wrestling, and I remember I did say Modestas should force a long fight. Krylov forced a long fight, and he got that finish in the last 30 seconds of the fight, which was wild. I thought that was going to go the distance. Yeah, we might see a first decision win. And then all of a sudden, boom. He gets the finish in the last 3 seconds. Josh Hockett and Ty Miller got their finish in the last 1 second. So that was also really wild. I thought the knockouts that they had, I feel like were kind of wild a little bit, especially because the first 4 were, I thought the cleanest knockout of the night was the Alex Perez and Charles Johnson one, but they were all unique in their own ways. But now, who should Krylov fight next? I think Jamal Hill will be the best option for him. It might sound wild, but I think he should get back in the top 10, especially after that performance he had. Fight somebody from the top 10. I know he called out Jan Blachowicz. I would actually wait on that a little bit and fight Jamal Hill, and then maybe after that, if Jan Blachowicz and Bogdan Guskov have already fought, I would fight the winner of that fight. Either run it back with Jan Blachowicz or run it back with Bogdan Guskov. And I think he'll do a better job fighting both fighters at this point. But yeah, I say Jamal Hill because Jamal Hill's on a 3-loss losing streak. I still think that'll be a great fight because though both their styles are kind of similar. That's another reason why. But I feel like it's just to see if Jamal Hill still has it or just still has it, but he's just losing to the best, or he's just done. I feel like it's proved there, and it proves that if Krylov is still top 10 worthy, Now, moving on to our Turbo Gardner versus Andre Pulayev. I was just so shocked that went the distance, man. It was like, what? I'm like, how did that even happen? I'm like, not that it couldn't have happened, but I thought Gardner was just gonna finish in the first round. He won by unanimous decision, but I was like, wow. Out of all people, nobody expected Andre Pulayev to go the distance with Gardner. Even though I was not the first person to, but I was the first person to do it in the UFC. And it's just, I'm still in shock about that. I'm like, wow, like he's definitely gotten better after that Chris Leroy Duncan fight, for sure. Definitely got better. And I think he might have a good time in the division. You know, I feel like he can compete with anybody, the upcoming fighters, maybe even the 15s in the top 10. I feel like he can compete with all of them. After that fight, yeah, he definitely can compete. I thought he couldn't compete with Gardner, but yeah, he did. He competed with Gardner, alright. That's for sure. But who should Gardner fight? I would have said give him some of the top 15, but just looking at that fight, I think the best option as of right now would be him versus Jung Young Park. I think that will be determined if he's still worthy of getting in the top 10. Jung Young Park recently lost to Ikram, and if you guys don't know who Jung Young Park is, he fought Ikram at UFC 321. under the prelims of Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. And if you guys don't know who Ikram is, he had fought Khamzat Chimaev outside the UFC, and I took it on short notice against Robert Whittaker. Just to refresh your memories, if you guys are a fan of Khamzat Chimaev before he was in the UFC, and if you're a fan of Robert Whittaker. Yeah, but that's who I think he should fight, and then maybe fight Ikram. Ikram, and then probably, if he beats both those fighters, probably gets someone from the top 15. Who knows? But yeah, if Garnier can prove that he can beat Jung Young Park and Ikram in a spectacular way, yeah, he might actually get someone from the top 15, or maybe even someone who's like ranked number 11, or even the rank number 10. Who knows? It'll be wild. That's all I'm gonna say. Now let's go over Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueroa. I'm gonna be honest, guys. That fight was, I wouldn't say it was trash, but I wouldn't say it was great either. It was in the middle. It was It was Umar. That was probably not the best Umar I've ever seen. And Deiveson, I don't know what Deiveson was doing. I don't know what game plan he thought that was going to work. Just not throwing punches at him for a whole round. And then started slowly throwing more punches throughout the rounds. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That was kind of a horrible game plan from Deiveson. I don't think that should have happened. I think Deiveson should have probably did something better than what he actually did. But I don't know. Maybe he's past prime, or maybe it was also that knee pop he had from Corey. But it's either that he's past his prime or that he's not built for the weight class. It's one of those two. It's either he's not built for the weight class or he's just past his prime. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If he's past his prime or not built for the weight class, but who knows? You know, he is really old. If I'm not mistaken, he's 37 or 38. One of the two. I forgot exactly, but man, I just don't. I hate when I see that dude lose. To be honest with you guys, I always hated. Well, maybe not. Maybe those Brandon Moreno fights, maybe. But like, other than that, like I'm talking about his losses in the bantamweight. I always hate when he loses in the bantamweight, even though some of them are my favorite fighters. It's just like I kind of just hate it a little bit. It's a little bit upsetting, to be honest. But yeah, for Umar, I think he should fight Merab. Merab, I think that'll be the best option because look, Merab's ranked number 1. Umar's ranked number 2. So if Umar wins that, number 1 contender, and he's gonna fight Peter Yan. But now, let's move on to let's review the main cards. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. That was a spectacular performance. Arnold Allen did really good. So did Gene Silva. Probably one of the best fights I've seen from Gene Silva so far of his career. You know, he's still young, and I'm starting to think he might just be in his prime. I think he's at his prime right now, in my opinion. That Arnold Allen proved. Well, I'm starting to think he's in his prime now. His prime days. I feel like his prime days. We finally have prime Gene Silva. The prime days of Gene Silva is finally here. But yeah, let's go over what I think Gene Silva should win. Well, there's already been a lot of scheduled fights. Diego Lopez is going to fight Volkanovski this coming up weekend. Movsar Evlov and Lerone Murphy are scheduled to fight. They're trying to schedule Aljamain Sterling and Youssef Zalal. So, it's like, who it really is. You know, you got Steve Garcia. That'll be pretty good. But the best option for me, I think he should fight Yair Rodriguez. I know Yair has an injury, so we're going to wait on that a little bit. But once he heals from that injury, him and Gene Silva, I think it'll be a great fight, to be honest with you guys. To be honest, that'll be a great fight. I think Gene Silva has a possibility on beating him. I already knew that Arnold Allen was going to get knocked out. I did hear that there was rumors that there was like sayings where Arnold Allen's gonna get knocked out, but nah, I went the whole distance, bro. 3 rounds. It was a great fight. Brutal. And yeah, so Gene and Yair, I think they'll be next. It'll be another great fight. Let's see how Gene Silva does against Yair. I would like to see that very much. Now, moving on to Natalia Silva and Rosa Namajunas. Bro, I think that was a robbery. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. I don't care. Rose won that fight, in my opinion. I saw in my eyes Rose won that fight. I feel like she had control of Natalia Silva's power, and I feel like Natalia could have landed her shots that she would usually do, like how she did against Alexa Grasso. And Rose Namajunas kept reversing positions. So that's the main reason why I say Rose Namajunas won that fight. She did enough to win, and I don't think Natalia Silva did enough to actually win that fight. I think Rose did more than what Natalia Silva did to win that fight. But it's whatever, bro. Judges scored in Natalia. I have to let it go. Who do I think Natalia Silva should fight next? I think it's about that time she gets the title shot against Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to be honest. This is like, maybe Manon Florent, but I get because Florent is the #1 contender, but I think she needs to fight somebody else before fighting for a title again. She just came off a win, even though that's happened before. You came off you lose the title, then come off a win, then fight for a title again. I get it, but I feel like her opponent that Flora fought was kind of obvious she was gonna win. So that's the main reason why I say she should fight somebody else that is not obvious for her to win. And then we'll see if she's ready for that title shot again. But yeah, Natalia Silva and Valentina Shevchenko, I'm all in for it. It's finally time that it needs to happen. I feel like Natalia is probably the only one who can beat Valentina Shevchenko at this point. Even though I think Valentina Shevchenko would win, don't get me wrong, but I think Natalia is the only one that can do it. Maybe Rose, but Natalia, I think she's the only one. She's already beaten 3 former world champions: Jessica Andrade, Alexa Grasso, and now Rosa Namajunas. Yeah, I think that should happen. Schedule that for the White House card, for sure. That fight deserving on the White House card. Now, Waldo Cortes Acosta and Derek Lewis. Man, Derek Lewis, man, he didn't look too good in that fight, I'm going to be honest with you. He said he was in the best shape. I feel like when people finally say they're in their best shape, they lose, which is wild. So, Derek Lewis said he was in his best shape, but not until the fight. I think Waldo just had great control of that entire fight. Then it ended up getting that knockout. And I don't know, I was kind of surprised that it ended like that. Because I was like, whoa. I'm like, it looked like it didn't really affect Derek like that, but it's whatever. Waldo, great win for him. Who do I think he should fight next? He called out Curtis Blades. And I feel like that's the main one. I think that'll be a really good fight for the heavyweight division. So I say Curtis Blades versus Waldo Cortes Acosta. That'll be a great fight. I think Waldo pulls that off. I think there's only like 2 people in the division who can beat him, which is Saragon and Tom. Depending on how Tom heals from that eye surgery, which he should be healed by now, I'm going to be honest with you. Well, not by now, but like in a few months, his eye should be healed, in my opinion. I think it should, because it already seems like it's getting better. But yeah, Waldo and Curtis Blades, I think that should be in the White House card. Let's run in there. Now let's go over Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. That was a great fight. I was kind of worried that Sean was going to lose that, but then Sean bounced back on that 3rd round and got that win. It was a close fight. I kind of thought O'Malley won, but then also kind of thought he lost. So it was also, that's why it was a great fight, because the best fights be those fights where you don't know who wins the fight. And it was a good fight, but the score to O'Malley, that was brutal. Now, who do I think he should fight next? I'm going to say this. This is definitely should guarantee should happen. Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen. That's the fight I would love to see. Corey and Sean O'Malley, the Sandman, Sugar versus Sandman. Let's get it. That'll be a great fight. That'll be a great fight for the division. I'm also saying add that to the White House card. You guys need it. That fight needs to actually happen on that White House card. That would be probably the best bantamweight fight of the White House card. Because I don't think they're gonna add Peter Yan to the White House card because he's Russian. Because Rob already announced that they're not gonna add him to the card because he's Russian, which is stupid anyways. Because I feel like Russians are taking over the MMA. I'm starting to think they are. So yeah, add that to the White House card, and there'll be a lot of people there, even more than what you expect. Now, Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. We already know who he's gonna fight next. Ilia Poirier. That fight will Ilia Poirier. So we don't have to say it twice. Ilia is gonna come for Gaethje. I think that's going to be a better matchup than what I thought it was going to be. At first, I didn't care about it. But looking at his performance with Paddy, that might be a little better, way better than what I expected. Probably just as good as the Max Holloway fight that Gaethje had with him. Who knows? I do think Ilia will get the knockout, but man, I think Gaethje and Paddy, and Ilia will be a great fight at this point. Gaethje now the first two-time interim world champion ever in the UFC, which is actually pretty cool. And Ilia is a two-time division world champion, two-time interim world champion versus a two-time division world champion. That'll be a great fight. You also gotta add that to the White House card. So let's go. I'm gonna go over the Gaethje and Paddy fight. Paddy, what I think he could have done better was that he could have probably went for a little more takedowns. He started doing that like in the later rounds when you're already beat up. That was kind of terrible. I know his coaches were really worried. They were telling him to do that, but I'm like, he's already beat up enough. I don't think at this point it was really a need to go for a takedown. But one thing Paddy also did prove is that Scousers don't get knocked out. Even though I already believed it, but he proved that more in that fight. Scousers don't get knocked out at all. Scousers, I'm starting to think in their prime, he'll never get knocked out. That's what I think. I think that's what's gonna happen. Just looking at how that fight went. So I scored that fight 3-2. First round, I had Gaethje winning. Second round, I had Gaethje winning. Third round, Paddy won that. Fourth round, Gaethje got that one, and then the fifth round, I think Paddy won that round. So the third and the fifth rounds, Paddy won. But man, Gaethje, he proved a lot of people wrong. I mean, he didn't prove me wrong because I thought he was gonna win anyway. So he didn't prove me wrong. I already thought he was gonna win, even though I knew it was a possibility Paddy was gonna win. But Gaethje got that win, interim world champion. I was really glad that he won. I jumped when he dropped Paddy that first time in the first round. I was like, yo, there's no way. This fight might just be over. And the amount of times Paddy got dropped by Gaethje was wild. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, he's definitely tough for taking those shots. Because how do you survive that? Most people would have been knocked out by then. But yeah. That's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you guys like watching the UFC and boxing, make sure you like and subscribe. If you guys like seeing the content like this, remember, we talk UFC and boxing over here. So, like and subscribe if you guys like seeing the content. And I'll see y'all in the next one.